Hi everyone, my name is Devin Ruthstrom and I work for a large insurance and financial services company doing management consulting inside of the organization that I work with. And today I'm going to tell you a little bit about how I've used research in my job and several other things. But first I'd like to say thanks to Dr. Bradley Bond for the opportunity to talk to all of you today. And as a disclaimer, make known that nothing that I say or by implication put out today is in any way affiliated with the company that I currently work with or any organizations that I have worked for or in relation with in the past. So again, nothing can be taken as a representation of those organizations. Now today, a number of things I'd like to talk with you about. The first thing would be providing just a high-level overview of how my organization currently, different types of research that we use. Secondly, just provide you an example of some research that I've used in my job. And then third, provide you with just an overview of the importance of professional responsibility in your job at large, no matter where you go, whether that's in academics or nonprofit or some other company that you may work for in the future. So first, in regards to just looking at the different kinds of research that organizations conduct, the scope is actually incredibly large, especially with insurance and financial services companies. They are large housers of data. Many people may not think of that, but second, and many of these companies house almost as much data as the U.S. government itself. And so you're talking about large amounts of information, and how do you actually take that information, draw insights from it, so that you can have valuable action to really drive business results regardless of the organization that you're working with. It's a huge skill set that's needed in the marketplace today, will continue to be needed in the future as we move away from making decisions simply by intuition alone and making decisions that are based on data and how that data can help us make better informed decisions. So in terms of the different kinds of research that are available and used in an organization, the company I work with today, in all numbers of types of research is done. We have HR that is conducting research to understand our employee engagement, which drives employees' intent to stay with the organization, drives the performance of our basic business results as an organization. They also look at the retention and turnover of employees. You have other departments such as our cost benefits analysis teams that will look at whether a project or whether some kind of business operation is actually worth keeping around or worth investing in based on the benefit it provides to the company. You have groups that are testing different technologies to see how users would respond and interact with them and better tweak their designs based on that information. You also have, with an insurance company, you have a lot of fun testing of risk to see what kinds of risk an insurance company should be willing to accept and how much people should have to pay to insure those kinds of risks. So from various things like seeing 2x4s fly through the air to test the durability of different materials that houses can be made of, to catching Christmas trees on fire and seeing how different materials respond to that. And then you have people working on innovation, a lot of research around innovation. How can we grow? How can we become better? So that right there just provides a broad gamut of all the different kinds of research that is used in an organization. And that's just a tip of the iceberg, really, of all the kinds of information that can be used. And another thing that I hadn't mentioned is pilots. So a lot of times you may have an idea in a company or organization you work for, and in order to get approval and drive that idea forward, you may need to pilot and test it with various applications. So I'm sure you've seen in research that you may be looking over in your coursework today that before the actual research study was conducted, there was a pilot that was conducted to make sure that either the question items were right or the ways and procedures of the way that they were going to do the research was right, and they could tweak the actual large research that they did based on that pilot. And of course there's large amount of use of primary and secondary data with all of these different research projects, primary being directly conducted by us, and secondary being going out there and seeing what already exists. Now, secondly, just to provide you an example of maybe how I've used research in my work, I'll just give you an example of a project. Recently finished a large series of focus groups from the very beginning of coming up in an idea in a meeting that we should conduct focus groups to better understand the environment of various contact centers, all the way through developing the plan. What should the questions look like? What should the purpose look like of this research, to gathering and collecting that data and trying to reduce the biases in doing so, and then all the way to analyzing that information, collaborating with various researchers inside of my organization, researchers outside of my organization, to ultimately provide some information and insight around what we can better do to create better environments in our contact centers that will ultimately drive business results for our organization. So that's just an example there, and in doing that, that involves a lot of primary research and gathering all this feedback from what people have to say. But in addition to that, incorporating outside research that can help inform us of, for example, areas to prioritize when it comes to employee engagement. A lot of things impact employee engagement, and how do you know what all those things are? Well, there's research that helps tell us that, and it helps us also to prioritize what's more important than another thing. Thirdly, just talking about the basic importance of professional responsibility. I'm sure that at some point in the course you are addressing the importance of research ethics, and it's actually a very fascinating topic to me. While to many it may be extremely boring when you talk about research ethics, having worked myself with the director for the National Director for Research Ethics here in the U.S., and having worked extensively with the National Director for the Center for Professional Responsibility, these are things that really stand out to me that really affect you in your everyday job. And what I'm talking about is your professional responsibility to your own career, your professional responsibility to the organization that you're a part of, and your professional responsibility to the communities at large around you. And being able to utilize research in a way that is appropriate and accurate is incredibly important for establishing your credibility in the workplace, for enabling you to move forward successfully in your career, for your information to actually be usable by the people that need that information. So there's a number of things that really affect and really talk about the importance of conducting good research. And so some of the things that you go over in your course will definitely relate to and talk about the importance of that, to the point that it really can affect your job and career and small decisions that you have to make on a daily basis to speak to the validity of the information that you have at hand. So that's just a little overview of the kinds of research that I've seen conducted in the organizations that I've worked with. Provide you an example of some of the research that I've done, and then provides you as well just the importance of research ethics in working with your day-to-day job. So if you have any additional questions or whatnot, Dr. Bradley Bond can connect you with my information if needed. Pleasure to join you all today, and I hope that you all enjoy the rest of your time in your studies.